One, you're on. Enjoy.
Hello world, this is Melody Garcia.
And I'm Janie. Welcome to our second episode of our podcast, Life Unscripted, a podcast like no other as we take you on a journey to share real life stories of some of the most iconic influencers in the world who had broken the scripts that once chained them.
We will hear about the stories of their breakdown to breakthroughs, golden wisdoms, and actions to take their life into meteoric levels.
And our goal is to always provide our listeners values and applications that will allow you to live your best life.
And without further ado, we would like to present our second guest on the show, none other than Len Branson, all the way from Bali. Len, welcome to Life Unscripted.
Hi guys, good to see you all the way. Where are you guys at?
Florida.
Oh, Florida, Sunshine State.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, welcome, and it's such a pleasure to have you and to meet you, and tell us a little bit about Bali and how'd you end up in Bali?
Well, I've actually been visiting Bali for like 18 years. Since 2000 was the first time I ended up here on the island of the gods, the island of love. I guess have you guys seen Eat, Pray, Love, the movie with Julia Roberts?
Yes.
So if you've seen it, you've seen the Bali part, and then you've seen actually where I live, because that's all set in this place, New Kuning, close to Ubud, which is a very spiritual town with lots of yogis, lots of vegan restaurants, lots of amazing healings. And so when I arrived here the first time, I felt the energy. And I felt, especially the local people, the people here in Bali, they're amazing. They're like so authentic, so much love, so real, so open, so inclusive. It's amazing. So, I've been coming here for 18 years, and actually in September last year, I decided to come here for a longer period. And I arrived here back again after being in LA, like in the end of October, and I'm still here.
You're still there. So Len, real quickly, because there's, I know you personally because we've been friends for a few years now. But for those who do not know Len Branson, can you give them a little bio history of who you are? I know.
That's like the most difficult question to ask, right? It's like,
yes.
Where do you start and how do you end that? But let's see if I can do it like in an elevator pitch kind of thingy. And in short, I'm from Belgium originally. Then when I was 17, 18, I actually went to Florida to high school in Clearwater, around Clearwater. So I had a really good time there. That's where I discovered that sunshine can be there every day. So that's a good thing. After that, I went back to Belgium, then to Holland to start studying journalism. And I ended up in the music business because music was my passion since I was like a little kid. And I pursued that. And so I've been on radio as a DJ. I've been a rock journalist. I've been in the record business as well, as a promoter, as an A&R manager, as a publisher. And then I also ended up on TV. I'm working for TV for the Belgian and Dutch MTV as a program director, which was truly such a great time. When you love music, I've been so blessed with all of that. And then I had my own production company, and I've produced music programs like Top of the Pops from the BBC in England. I did the Kids Top 20. I did videos. I've done lots of stuff. But then 2007 is the time that through the internet and where people were thinking music is free, that the music business kind of collapsed, especially in smaller countries. And so I had to get rid of my business. I had to rethink everything. And I started in the love and inner wisdom business, if you may call it that way. I don't like to call it that way at all because I don't see it as business. I just see it as inspiration. And then I made a movie. I made a documentary which is called Superwise Me. Not Super Size Me, but Superwise Me. Law of the Heart. And it's all about showing what happens when you start listening to your heart. And I tell you, I mean, there's so many miracles, and like literally miracles that happen, things that you cannot conceive or even comprehend in the moment how that came about. But I've been just following it and following my heart with it. And it took me everywhere. Worked with the greatest teachers around, like a lot of teachers from The Secret. I worked with Michael Bernard Beckwith, did the voiceover for my movie. So lots of stuff with that. And I kind of kept going at it, trying to inspire people to self-love, trying to inspire people to find their inner wisdom through asking the right questions. So not me telling them how to live or how to do, but me just asking the right questions. And I think that a question mark is really like a key to open up all the answers that are locked inside of you. And yeah, so basically that's what I've been doing since stepping out of the music business and traveling and inspiring and talking and helping and being of service as well. Yeah, so that's been kind of in short a lot of stuff, but it encompasses about from my 17th until I'm turning 49 in September. So there you are. That's kind of in short. Is that good? Does that make sense? All of it?
Yes. So Len is actually being very humble by him saying that he traveled around the world and meeting good people and great people. You know, I have never come into a space. They said it's 2 degrees of separation. So technically through Len Branson here, I know the Dalai Lama directly and indirectly because of Len Branson. And of course, who often he gets mistaken to be related to is Richard Branson.
That's right. It still happens. It still happens a couple of times a day. Even here in Bali, you know, people get confused about it. It's true. It's true.
Yes. So if for those of you who do not see this on the podcast, when you Google the name Len Branson and you see his picture, you are going to think that he is the son or the brother or the twin brother of Sir Richard Branson. Yet
yes,
they're not
but I'm not. I'm not.
They're not related.
No.
Even through DNA ancestry, they're not related.
Well, that I don't know. You know, that's something.
Think that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you never know, and there's so much similarities there that. I mean, he started in the music business. I started in the music business. Then, you know, of course, I don't have an airplane business, aviation company. You know, it's not yet, but maybe in the future. But no, I kind of leverage the fact that I look and have that energy. Yeah, so I use Branson as an author name. My real name is actually Doens, but in the States, people would pronounce it as Duns, which is not a good name to work with, I think. So I took on Branson, and everybody kind of loved it and thought it was very funny. And he knows about it as well, because I got actually lots of friends that know him, went to the island and shared that with him. So it's kind of a, yeah, like a joke, a fun thing. And he's been doing marketing and promotion with his name and his brand in fun ways also. So, you know, there's a relation there as well.
Well, I posted a picture that we took a couple of years ago again when you visited Orlando, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And it was nuts, Janie, because people were messaging me going, how do you know Sir Richard Branson? And you two are all dining. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I know. It's funny. It's funny.
And I was like, that's not Sir Richard Branson. That's Len Branson, right?
Exactly.
And of course, the funny attention that comes with that. But
absolutely.
Could you take us on the journey on okay, so Superwise Me was literally in search of you, of now unscripting yourself from technical corporate world, right? Being in the MTV space and chasing that. And I believe I read to a period where you really fell into depression. In fact, there was a tagline, and correct me because I know I'm going to mess this up, of you were tagged as the unhappiest millionaire.
Oh, wait. No. So
no. Okay, take us back to that.
Yeah. So first, let me say that when I escaped the corporate world was when I was around 30. I was a program director of MTV Belgium and Holland at a young age. You know, so I was ambitious, and you know, you rise. But I noticed that the higher I got into hierarchy and in those corporate thingies, the less it was about the passion for what you were in it for from the beginning on. It was all about money, power, ego, politics, all that kind of stuff. So I noticed that I had to make a choice there. Or I play the game, and I could even become bigger and higher and whatever, and probably make more money at the same time. I don't know. Um, or I will be myself and be happy. So that wasn't kind of an easy decision for me to make. I chose me, and I chose to be myself. So I stepped out of that. So that's like 18 years ago now. And since that decision of stepping out, I've been free. I've been roaming the world. I've been somehow sustainable with finances and everything. Just listening to my heart and really following that flow. Be like water. So I've been like water since then, and I've been totally free from everything that was connected to that previous world. Now you're talking about the Unhappiest Millionaire. That's actually it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm in the process of starting that up again. It's a format for a TV series where we follow an unhappy millionaire around the world, helping him with like the biggest spiritual journey ever, meeting people like the Dalai Lama, doing a Vipassana meditation, learning about the law of attraction, going and to be coached and everything. So it's like this 1 year spiritual journey that we take on an unhappy millionaire, knowing that in that 1 year so much will change, and in that 1 year the unhappiest millionaire will become the happiest millionaire. And it's better to have a happy millionaire, because a happy millionaire will be a huge contribution to the world, as Sir Richard Branson, for example, who is an example of a happy millionaire, doing so much good stuff with his money, and setting up foundations to really raise awareness, to help people, things like the elders, for example. So it's a TV format that I was talking to a producer from LA about just like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been talking about it for I think 3-4 years, because I was busy with other stuff. And so it's funny that you mentioned it, because it's alive again, and we're setting out to produce it and get it on Netflix and stuff. So who knows? In 1 year I'll be talking to you again now, and then talking about the actual TV series, The Unhappiest Millionaire.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, what the catch is for the millionaire to be joining this thing? The catch is that he or she has to pay his way in. So they have to pay up $1 million to be part of this. Because if people don't pay money, they don't give it value. And of course, it's fun for a millionaire to say yes and travel around the world, do all this kind of stuff. But we need to, up the game a little bit. So they have to pay $1 million, and then they'll become happy. Because in that case, money somehow can make you happy. So this is part of the format. We want to have them accountable, and the question really is, how much is it worth to be happy? What's your price for being happy, and what will you do for it? Because that's where it all starts. What's your motivation, and how will you step up and be there really for it, and not take it for granted, or just do it a little bit, or not fully, or that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the Unhappiest Millionaire. So it's not my story, but it's a story that I want to bring to the world. I'm quite happy, actually. Of course, I can be depressed a little bit sometimes, but I think I forget. So I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, as long as you're happy 80% of the time.
I can say it's probably like 95%, really.
Well, that is awesome. We all achieve to be that. And congratulations on your continued success. Look forward to hearing more about your project.
Yeah.
You had said something that really caught my attention, Len, earlier, when you had said, listen to your heart, and when you made your transition. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about what that means, and what's your recommendation on how we get there.
Yeah, so I think it's very important, because most people, they are really living their lives from the head, and they let the mind control everything. And actually, the mind is not set up to do that. The mind is basically just a creation tool that will help you in whatever you want to create. But it's not a tool that has to be in charge of your life, because it gets too confused. There's too much input for your head. It's like an old computer, really, that you can't really use because the software now is too complicated, or so it's running slow, or it's creating errors, or all that. And that's your head, really. And the thing is, you have to get out of it and get to the heart, or you can call it the gut, or you can call it even God or the universe, or whatever it is. It's something inside of you that is speaking to you. And it will always speak to you, and it will always tell truth also. Because, when you start off something, or when you're in a relationship, or in a job or something, you kind of know, you kind of hear that it's good or not good for you. And of course, sometimes you don't want to hear it, so you numb it. People do it with alcohol or with drugs, or you numb it by just not listening to it. But the great thing is about it, it's like an internal GPS. The great thing is that it will keep on giving you nudges. It will keep on telling you yes or no. It's you're on the right way or you're on the wrong way. You'll feel it. And you can't deny that you'll feel it, because you'll be really unhappy somehow if you're taking a wrong direction. And you'll be really happy somehow if you're on the right path. So the trick is to really use it and navigate through it and start listening to that, what's inside of you. It's all the answers really are there. And how to do it, it's a little journey. It takes practice. Basically, it takes practice. Just like everything else in life takes practice. If you want to become a champ of Serena Williams, for example, she started playing tennis when she was young. And I'm sure the first time she was on the court, she didn't hit the ball. And the second time, maybe she hit one ball. And the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time, of course, hitting the ball over and over and over and over and over and over again made her the champ that she is today. And that's also for happiness. It's also for anything else. And it's also for listening to your heart. You have to practice and start doing it. And there's many ways to practice. I always say there's a spiritual buffet. And no matter who you are, there's something on the buffet that you will love and will like. That could be meditation. That could be long walks along the beach. That could be even, listening to music or driving a car or whatever it is. It could be being coached by whoever, and it could be yoga. I mean, there's so much stuff on that spiritual buffet. So I always encourage people, go find that book or that documentary or that course or that retreat or that person. It could be your neighbor even, on the spiritual buffet. Your neighbor just guiding you and like as a guardian angel, telling you stuff, and you listen to it and you be open to it. It could be anything. But go and feast on that spiritual buffet and empty that mind and let the mind not be in control of your life, and go inside and go deeper and go to the heart, or whatever you want to call it, that intuition, that GPS. But it's practice. It's practice. In the beginning, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard and difficult. I remember when I started doing yoga, in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, I'm trembling, I'm shaking, I'm sweating. I don't want to do this. It's no fun. Please, no. But, I kept going at it every single day. And still, I am not flexible at all. But I notice I make progress. And that gives you the motivation to continue. So it's just like going up the hill. At some point you reach the top of the hill, and then it becomes second nature. It becomes easy and more easy, and you start living it that way. And so it takes practice. Basically, I'm sorry to tell you, it just takes practice. I hope that gives you a little insight in the possibilities there and what you can do. There's no easy hard. There's no easy hard. No, what do you say? It's not the easy hard. So it's the hard way easy. That's what it is. It's
right.
Hard in the beginning, but it gets easier and easier and easier. And in the end, you win. Flushing Meadows, or you win Wimbledon, or you win whatever, and you're a champ.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's the reality, is that whatever we want to achieve, it's not going to be, okay, we have the answer and we go there. There takes practice. It takes rewiring the brain. It takes habit. And a key thing that I heard you say is meditation. And I also like to think of it as mindfulness, is getting people to be aware of the junk that's already passing through their mind and the faulty belief systems that they have, so that they can get in touch with that intuitive nature and listen to their heart by first filtering out the automatic thoughts, right? 69% of our thoughts, if we just let it pass through us, are going to be automatic. And if we're not knowing the programming and how we're operating, it's going to be hard to get to that practice state. So I'm glad that you had said
Absolutely.
that.
Yes. And by being aware of all that, it becomes a lot more fun, actually, because then you'll see or you'll hear your thoughts, and you know where they come from, and you know the conditioning that happened in life, you know the dogmas and the teachings and the religions and the governments and all of that that's been put on you, and you start separating that from who you really are also. And in that moment, your own stuff is coming out, your own answers are there, and that's what it's all about. It's not about my answers, really. It's not because I don't know you. I can't really tell what you have to do, but I can tell you that by asking questions and by going inside and by skipping the mind games and all of that it will actually direct you exactly where you need to be. So yeah, and meditation is also practice, and it's also not easy, especially in the beginning, but it's a good one, to be aware of how things work and what's happening inside of you.
Because essentially what you're saying is having a relationship with ourselves, is to get to know ourselves and have a relationship with ourselves. So,
and loving yourself unconditionally.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes, that unconditional love. So for our listeners and our viewers, what would you share, Len, as far as the challenges that you had when you got to that place of loving yourself unconditionally, from getting out of the programming of the mind and corporate life and all of that stuff? What were some of the things that you faced?
Yeah, well, I faced, I think, my biggest lesson between 27 and 30. And when I look back at it, of course, now I'm totally fine with it. But when I was in that lesson, it was hell. I actually was 1% in the end, almost, of who I am today. So I had a relationship with somebody who had borderline, which is... I mean, you can probably explain it much better than I can, but I've been in that place, and it almost took me down. But the biggest lesson that I got out of it was in the end, when I actually was 1% left over, and I just had the power to take one big step. The biggest lesson was there that I had to take care of myself first. If I didn't take care of myself first, all the rest would collapse with me. So I stepped out of it. I started taking care of myself, of what I need, what my needs are, before I helped anybody else, before I was there for anybody else. I did myself first. The metaphor always is in the airplane, when the mask, you put the mask on first, and then you're there for everybody else to help. If you don't put the mask on first, if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't do that, then there's no point. It's not going to be helpful. It's not going to be efficient. There's no point. If you don't overflow in love, you're not going to be able to give love. You're going to be drained, and in the end, you're going to be sour. So you got to fill yourself up all the way. So there, setting boundaries for that, learning that, taking care of myself first was like such a huge lesson. So when I was 30, that actually was one of the big transformations happening in my life, which I'm so grateful for now, getting that lesson, really. But because before that, I kind of didn't know. I kind of didn't do it. Even before in the relationship with borderline, it's like you live a life half awake somehow. So that was a huge thing. A big transformation happened around that time, and a big realization. And that's, I guess, Superwise Me came out of that, the love, the heart. Everything actually that I've done since was based on that, because I want to give love to the world, and I want to inspire self-love. And for all that, I had to love myself unconditionally. I had to forgive everything. I had to step up, and I had to fill my cup until it was overflowing. And, from the overflowing part, I have abundance, and I can give and give and give and give and give. And you cannot love somebody else if you don't love yourself. You cannot forgive yourself if you don't forgive yourself. You're not in that place. You're not in that state if you are not doing that. So that was big. And I mean, I'm so grateful now for actually being in that. Do I think that I want to be there again to learn lessons? No, I think also you can learn lessons through joy, actually, and you can learn lessons through pleasure and all that kind of stuff also. There's many ways, many roads to Rome, and I kind of see that we're conditioned to suffer before we are able to take steps. It's not necessary. You don't have to be in the gutter to take steps. You can do it before also, but you got to be aware. You got to be awake, and that's what I'm trying to point out, and bring in some joy to the world in that way.
I love the fact that you said you can learn lessons through joy, because most of us correlate lessons through pain.
Yes.
But those are the things that usually sticks, because you don't want that ouch or that hurt or that broken heart feeling again. But at the same token, by avoiding those lessons, because it's like, oh, that hurts, I'm going to run away, right, is what we most tend to do. I love how you brought in lessons through joy, because that's not typical of a quote-unquote scripted world.
Yes, it's actually it's
joy.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's almost like frowned upon. Like if you haven't suffered, then you can't be enlightened. If you haven't suffered, then you can't understand. Yes, it's true. It will help you suffering to be enlightened, and it will help you suffering to do whatever you need to do. But there's, as I said, there's many roads, and we're so conditioned as a humanity to suffer, because suffering has been used by the powers that be to control masses, to for, again, politics, power, ego, all the stuff that we're still kind of keeping alive altogether. And I'm here actually to tell you and everybody else, and to inspire you, that there's another paradigm as well, and there's another way of doing this as well. So we should give that a try, and experiment with that, with joy, with good stuff, and see what lessons are there, because I truly believe that there's many lessons there to be learned also, and so you can get there through that as well. But we're just conditioned, we're wired in a different way for centuries, for forever, really, and we got to wire differently. So I'm trying to inspire people to at least look at that also, and maybe try and see what's there, because there's lots of stuff there as well. And in my life also, a lot of people were always like, yeah, it's easy for you to say, you have a good life, and so on and so on. And at some point I was like, okay, let's see if that's true. I have a good life, and yes, it's easy for me to say, but oh wait, I've actually suffered just like you. I've actually encountered the same stuff like you. I'm actually just as human as you. So it is possible to actually change the dogmas and change the paradigm and rewire yourself and train yourself in different ways also. So right now I'm basically doing things in different ways, and learning through joy and inspiring people through joy and love and self-love and all that kind of stuff, because we're not doing that enough. We're not talking about that enough in this world. I mean, just look at the news, just look at the TV, just look at the social media. It's all very negative. It's all very tough, really, and we should change paradigms about love, change paradigms about money, change paradigms about all this stuff, and I'm trying to be that voice.
Well, you're doing that successfully. I mean, just Unhappiest Millionaire, you're asking millionaires to pay $1 million to find a travel, this destiny call. I call it life journey.
Yeah.
In a way to journey into their happiness. I have never heard, I don't know about you, Janie, but I've never heard of a show where you pay $1 million to find your happiness, and you really take them in the soul search. And the only reason
it's really, yeah,
you've been there yourself.
Yes, and the money is there just to hold them accountable, because they're wired that way. If you give something, like, for example, if I would give you a Melody, I would say, like, here, I have this book, and all the answers are in there, and you're going to be so amazed, and you're going to be so happy, and it's so cool, and here you have it, and it's free. Here you go. And then you go home and you put the book on the stable of all the other free books and stuff you have, and you won't be doing anything with it. But if I tell you, here, I have this book, and it's really cool, it has all the answers, but you got to pay me $1 million, because that's what it's worth. So you pay me $1 million, you go home, what will you do? you will be reading that book first night, back to
Absolutely.
forth, and you know that's why we, with the Unhappiest Millionaire,
Mm.
the $1 million is there to make somebody, to hold somebody accountable, and to, you know, because we're still wired that way. This is how it works. I was once at a reading of Neil Donald Walsh from Conversations with God, the author,
Yes, yes.
and
Actually, I have that book on my nightstand right now.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
And so somebody in the audience was like complaining, like, yeah, it's so expensive to be here, and da 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 da. And he said, like, hey, if I would be doing this for free, nobody would be here. So right now we're still in that paradigm, and so we got to play a little bit around with that and use it for the greater good also. But I want to give everything for free, actually, and I've experimented with that, and I've seen that it doesn't work yet. If you give stuff for free, like really stuff for free, like, or people don't trust it, they're like, no, there's got to be a catch, or people don't value it. So somehow we still got a lot of work to do, because I am sustained somehow. I don't know how, and I don't see why I would charge for doing anything I do, really. So I want to give stuff away for free, and I will be trying to do it, and trying to be there and be generous and be, you know, overflowing with all of it. At some point, I hope it will catch on. You know, somebody got to change the money paradigm, and I'm one of those guys trying to look at things in different ways and inspire people in a different way also.
So you've
Well, sir-
interviewed, I'm sorry, Janie, you've interviewed real quickly, because I'm very curious in this space, and I've done media work as well. You've interviewed some of the world's greatest icons, you know, like we mentioned Dalai Lama and Sir Richard Branson, and the list goes on. What did you find consistent in them unscripting their lives? Because of course the Dalai Lama to me brings on a whole different feel, you know, to be
Yeah, I mean,
presence, and just so like, really internally in tune with him. So can you share to our audience space, and also to our
yeah.
viewers who are watching you, what some of those wisdom shares that came from them?
Yeah, we'll see. But it actually, it's always the same thing. So with the Dalai Lama, for example, the reason why the Dalai Lama is the Dalai Lama, and I think he's like number one in walking his talk, practicing what he's preaching. He's such a humble, cool, funny guy, really. And the reason why he's so good at what he does and why he is who he is basically because, you know, as the Dalai Lama is a chosen person, right? And they're chosen when they're like a baby, and they start having the spiritual practices from baby on. So why is he so good and everything? Because he's been doing it for so long. He's probably the most practiced guy in this realm on this planet. So it's my answer that I gave to you in the beginning also. It's practice. It's practice, it's practice, it's practice. There's no other way than practicing it. With Richard Branson, I also noticed a playfulness, you know, being a kid in an adult world, keeping that kid alive inside of you, because don't let it be destroyed. The kid is able to imagine everything. A kid can say, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. And it's the adults actually saying, no, it's not possible. Go and study bookkeeping. Go and be a lawyer. Go do that. You'll never be an astronaut. It's impossible. You'll never be a singer. You'll never be an artist. You'll never be an actor. Because as a kid, you can imagine it's possible. As a kid, I actually said, you know what? I want to have all the music in the world for free. When it was not like how and everything. And luckily there were no adults saying like, that's impossible. Go and save some money so you can buy the music. No, you know, I could wish that. I could be open to that. And when I was 20, from 20 on, I actually was in a position that I got all the music in the world for free. I could go to any concert. I could meet any artist. It's an amazing thing. So Branson kept that kid alive also. And one thing I've noticed, he actually said that on stage in Canada in a seminar where the Dalai Lama was as well, and where other Stephen Covey was there. I mean, many beautiful people. And he said that he forgets the bad stuff. That's an interesting thing. He forgets the bad stuff. So I think it's a practice of not reliving it the whole time, not keeping it alive, not staying in it somehow and just forgetting it. There's a Hawaiian healing technique called Ho'oponopono, which is also about that. It's deleting the data constantly, deleting the old data because the old data is just not bringing you anywhere, and making space for new things to come in and new realizations. But it was funny. So that's why maybe I am related to Richard Branson, because I'm like that as well. I forget the bad stuff. I really do. I really have to go deep and start remembering, like, oh yeah, this is how it was, and this is how I felt. I forget. So I'm really blessed with that somehow. Maybe it's something already inside of me, or maybe it's something that is trained a little bit. But that was an interesting thing, forgetting the bad stuff, deleting the old data. Ho'oponopono is something really interesting. I would recommend people to dive into as well. It would maybe take too long to sidetrack here and explain all about it, but it's very powerful. And the fun thing is, when I saw The Secret in 2007 with the teachings of Abraham and Esther Hicks in it, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I've been doing this all my life. Now I can do it on a conscious level. And after that, I didn't get a lot of new stuff, information, inspiration that I was excited about. It was just more affirmation, like, okay, I know this. This is, yeah, okay, I'm done. Yeah, okay, thank you. And then I got the book Zero Limits from about Ho'oponopono, and I got excited. I was like, my mind was expanding. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Finally, something again. And the universe is so funny, because who's the guy that brought Ho'oponopono to the world? His name is Dr. Len. So I get excited. Yeah, it's crazy. I get excited again, and then the guy is called Dr. Len. Really? That's so funny. So when I read the book, I was so excited. I was like, I wish I could meet him and talk to him and all that. And I put that out there. And 2 years later, 2 years. So you got to have patience sometimes also. Patience is a good virtue. 2 years later, I was in his home in LA, spending a whole afternoon having brunch, getting to talk to him. So it was like Dr. Len and Len together. It was such a beautiful evening. So that's the whole Ho'oponopono thing. But basically, it's practice.
Right.
Just,
So yeah, Ho'oponopono, for those not familiar, because I came into space of Ho'oponopono because of Date with Destiny with, of course, Tony Robbins, that really practices into Ho'oponopono. So it comes down to 4 statements, right? It's I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me,
please forgive me,
and thank you. So those are the 4 cornerstones of Ho'oponopono, which you just keep repeating of I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And really doing a deeper dive onto that. And again, it goes back to even just our podcast, Janie, of completely unscripted, because the human nature is when someone hurts you, you're done. You're cutting ties.
Right.
This forces you to go, I love you, and really love on your enemies. I'm sorry. Yes,
right.
is the humility part.
Yes.
Right?
And
wrong
honor.
or right. Is
also honoring.
Honor. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me.
And the interesting...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, the interesting part actually is also that those 4 sentences are even more inwards than outwards. So it's not even that you would say it to somebody, it's saying it to yourself. And by saying it to yourself, you are healing yourself and you're clearing yourself from all data. And with that, by changing yourself, everything around you changes also. So it's very powerful. And there's an amazing story about Dr. Len, who was in Hawaii in like a mental hospital / prison. And he showed up there. He actually didn't treat anybody. He just treated himself by doing this Ho'oponopono. And in the end, and this is amazing, in the end, they had to close down the mental hospital / prison because everybody was healed. It's amazing. So people look it up, because that story is like crazy. When you hear it for the first time, you're like, what? Really? Yes, really. And Joe Vitale, also in The Secret, actually wrote a book about it. He's done some podcasts about it. So he's also a good source to find some more information about the Ho'oponopono and Dr. Len. And of course, Tony Robbins is using it, and it's very powerful. I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And everything around me is changing right now as we speak because I'm deleting my old data. You feel it? Are you feeling it there in Florida?
We're feeling it. We're feeling it. And that is very powerful. You know, there's a couple of key things that you shared, Len, that I want to recap because I think our viewers need to capture that. So what I heard you say is you allowed, or you got in connection with people who had something or appeared to have something that you wanted to achieve. So you allowed some influencers in your life, and you're also you're continuously learning. I'm hearing you're reading, you're being able to continue to be a student of life, which I think is such an important place to get to that place of 95% of happiness where you're at. But you also said two things. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about it. I hear when you're able to forget things and move on, I'm hearing resiliency, that you're able to have that drive. But I also heard, I'm going to say play, like that kid-like part of us that can play and enjoy and not get lost in what other people are thinking or judging ourselves, but to allow that free spirit and allow that play, which is a childlike characteristic that I think as adults is part of finding happiness and finding that true authentic self within ourselves, and we can play. So what are some of the things that you do to play that you find that keep you in alignment with that happiness?
Wow, that's a really truly a great question. And again, see, this is what a question does. The question opens up my answer. So you just have to ask a question, and I can't even hold the answers back. It's like the question is there. Like if I would ask you, what's your favorite color? It's popping up in your head. You cannot stop it. So this is what a question does. So it's truly a great question because it makes me think and go back to how I play and how I play. Still, actually, as I said, music was my passion since I was a kid, since I was 8, and I was recording music from the radio with a tape recorder. The first song I recorded was Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, by the way, I still remember, which is such a great song. So playing, I still play with music, actually. So I still make my mixtapes. I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I'm still doing it like almost every week. I'm making mixtapes and music, and I'm researching them, and I'm putting it together, and I let it play for other people, and I'm enjoying that, and I'm dancing to it, and I'm singing, and so my playing is more in that realm, you know, through the joy of music. That would be my playing, but also through just being a little playful with people sometimes and teasing them a little bit, or you know, it's me also. Yeah, but the music definitely is my playground. So, but you know, again, it could be anything for everybody. It could be sports. It could be spirituality. It could be anything. For me, music is my playground. Yeah. So that's a great question. I'm happy to realize that again, how I play with music.
Yeah, and Queen, what a selection there.
Yeah, that's my song. It's so cool that I remember where I was sitting, how I was doing it, how that song entered me. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. So when you think about just everything that you've gone through and everything that you shared, all the wisdom and valuable life experience that you have, like what would be the 3 main keys that you would want our audience to walk away with after they heard some of the things that you've gone through and some of the key points that you shared? What would be the 3 main things that you would want to reiterate or want to share with the audience to help them move to wherever they are, to being at that place of inner freedom? That's what I hear when I feel your energy, Len, and some of the things you've gone, just the inner freedom, which can allow a lot of different things to occur in our life. You
know, let me start with the biggest thing out there, the biggest topic, and the one that a lot of people still struggle with somehow, but it's the key to everything as I've experienced it, and it's self-love. Finding self-love and learning how to apply that in life and activate it and let it grow, and all that really changed my life in so many ways. So if there's one thing that I want to inspire people to is doing everything you can, whatever it is, to find self-love. Because I truly believe that love and self-love is the solution to everything. If you are self-love, you will not abuse anybody. If you are self-love, you will not pollute Mother Earth. If you are self-love, you will contribute, you will be an inspiration, you will motivate, you will help, you will be out there. And so if everybody's in that place, we could actually have a good planet Earth and a good place for everybody, where there's no lack, where there's no fear, where there's abundance of good things, of joy and everything. So, and I know it's very like this vague concept for a lot of people, because, you know, self-love. People confuse it also sometimes with selfish or narcissism or all this kind of stuff. No, it like truly self-love is such an important thing. And again, find the way to get there. Go to the spiritual buffet, discover what's on there, and I would recommend to practice and practice and practice until you activate it, that self-love. And, you know, it starts with forgiving yourself. It starts with forgiving anybody else that has hurt you. It starts with being awake, understanding why things happen, understanding that if people treat you bad, it's not because of you, but it's because they are in a bad place. And the people who are the most difficult to love are the ones that need the most. So the takeaway to become happy is, and the gateway to it is self-love. And I know it can be hard to get there, but start slowly. If you can't do it fast, you know, give yourself a little self-love today. Make this nice cup of coffee that you really love, and do it with care and love, and be conscious about it and drink it. That's the beginning of self-love going into you, you know. Or take good care of yourself and step out of whatever you are entangled in, and do something special for yourself really. I would always advise people, you know, find a retreat or something. You know, step out of the world that you are in, that you are, you know, prisoned in somehow, the job, the relationship, the family, whatever that is keeping you busy. And it's not even maybe a bad thing, but still step out of it. Find a retreat that resonates to you. I mean, it could be a yoga retreat. It could be a retreat with moon goddesses and elixirs and all this kind of stuff. It could be something where people come together and share laughter, you know, but step away from everything that you are doing right now, and take time for yourself, and find that space where you can just be with yourself and discover yourself and learn from yourself, and start, you know, answering some questions that's been happening and going on in your life, and do that first. That can really shift a lot. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter what the topic is really. The thing is, find a space where you are where people are holding space for you. Find a space where you can just, you know, enjoy some good food, or just be mindful about what you are doing, and step out of the hustle and the bustle. Really, that's step number one. Do that retreat. I actually, you know, this is. Superwise Me is all about that as well, actually, because I took 9 teachers for 9 days on a road trip to an old monastery in Andalusia, and I let them teach each other, and I let them answer all important life questions. And while they are there, like the first 3 days, everybody's still wearing the masks, and everybody still has the egos and everything. But like the 4th day, the 5th day, raw beauty shows up. You can't keep it up. The theater, you can't keep it up. The play, and you start discovering yourself. So coming back from that will change you, and then continue on that path. You know, once you've done the retreat, or once you've taken that time for yourself, a vipassana meditation, whatever it is, once you've done that, continue on that path, and you will slowly get to the self-love. You will slowly get to that inner wisdom, and, you know, inner wisdom and all that will ease a lot. You know, answers will help you out, and will come through that. So that's the biggest thing, really. You know, book that retreat. So as I was saying, because I've been telling people, do something, you know, find something and do something, but I don't have the money. Okay, save for it a year or 2 years or 3 years, doesn't matter, but make it a goal, and it doesn't even have to be expensive. You know, there's lots of stuff out there. There's free stuff out there as well. If you value it, go and get that, but do something. take that step. And because I've been saying that to everybody the whole time, last year, my now ex-girlfriend, who's still lovely and amazing, I have an unconditional love for her, and she for me, she was telling me, you say this to everybody, but how about yourself, man? Isn't it time for you to do something like that again also? And I was like, oh my God, it's true. I forgot. See, sometimes you can fall asleep a little bit also.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. Last year, at the end of the last year, I went to a silent retreat. 1 week of silence, amazing food, twice yoga a day in a beautiful environment here in Bali, Bali Silent Retreat. I talked about that in a podcast, which I have. And it's been amazing. And, you know, it's also good to refresh sometimes, right? And dive in again. And because sometimes we fall asleep also. Sometimes just life takes over. And suddenly you're like in this wheel again, like, oh wait, how did I get here again? Let's get out again, you know? So that's my biggest thing, you know, go find your thing and start and do something for yourself, really, only for yourself, not for your family, not for your work, not for your partner, for you. Do it. It's the most healthiest thing that you can do. So when did you guys do something for yourself last time?
You know, a couple of things that I want to share with what you had just said, because you're so right that a lot of people don't understand what self-love really means. They think it's that pedicure. Those are self-care things, but
Yes,
the heart
true.
of self-love is saying that I am lovable. And then you also had said
no matter what,
yes,
what,
unconditional.
I forgive myself,
I am lovable.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love myself for whatever shows up, and
Mm-hmm.
really hone that also. Even if it's ugly, it's okay. You know, love yourself, and
Exactly.
actually, yeah, it's important. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I love self-love.
No, you're fine, and that's why I wanted to speak a little bit more about it, because I think it's such a confusing topic for people who haven't practiced that. And in a practical way that you had shared in your toxic relationship earlier, a retreat that Melanie and I will be doing will be in September, so they're always welcome to come with us.
All right, that's good.
Is boundaries. You mentioned about boundaries, because when we are lovable and we believe that we deserve unconditional love, we also will not let the junk in. Boundaries is not about controlling other people, but it's about protecting our peace. So in a very practical way, when we are confident in who we are, we love ourselves, you have boundaries with people who try to abuse you, because to your point, you're not about abusing yourself. So I think we have that deep belief that I am lovable and I'm enough and I deserve to be loved. You carry yourself in a very different manner, and you will not accept abuse and bad behavior, you know, because in your relationship, like many people, they can relate with that, is that they find themselves through the brokenness of relationships. We are broken in relationships, but we can also heal in relationship. And that was such a beautiful thing for you to honor your recent girlfriend and mention the unconditional love, because that's what it's about, is that when expiration dates come about, we can still honor and love people in an unconditional way and still respect them.
Of course. And for me, you know, it's been hard to find, but I did find it with Naomi, as her name is. And it's actually very easy, because I loved her then, right? And then, okay, we're not together anymore. But why would that change the love that I had? Love is love. Love was then, love was now. And it's not tied to that physical realm here, where we have a rule that love is only love if you are together in a relationship or something. No, it's so much bigger than that. So we are playing in that field, and it's such a beautiful experience for me also to be able to learn from that also, and to be an inspiration for other people. Like here in Bali, she's actually, you know, just she came because I'm gonna help her with something. Naomi, just say hi.
Hi, Naomi. When are you going to Bali?
Very soon, because the retreat that you said. So Naomi and I met along with Len a couple years ago.
I'm sorry, she can't hear you, but I will tell you.
Yeah, but basically Naomi is like, I call her a soul sister, because it's like instant connectivity without having to do the formality of friendship. Is who I ended up just falling in love with both of them. And I got to personally witness unconditional love at best with both of them. And even now in their friendship, it's still so unconditionally beautiful,
Yes.
to see both of them. So please send her my love. If she
I
cannot
will.
hear me.
I will. Yes, I will. But yeah, love is love is love, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. So when you find self-love, really, then you are actually able to do this also, because the love for somebody else is not tied to something. It's not like I can only love you if we are married together and we live in this house and we do this. No, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you now. I love you then. I will love you forever as well. And I am blessed. I'm truly blessed to be able to be there in that field and have this experience. It's amazing. And we're really funny, and like for people here in Bali seeing us, they knew us from before also, and so everybody was shocked when we split up, right? But now everybody's almost shocked, like how cool we are with each other and how beautiful we still engage with each other, and even though she goes her way, I go my way, and we have other people in our lives. It's amazing. And so we're really blessed. So I love love. And you know what? Let me tell you, the biggest secret for me in manifestation is also love. I've noticed in my life that whatever I love, I purely love. Not like no, like real love, right? You know what real love is? Like I love it. I love this. Everything I love, if it's a song or an artist or a book or a person, or it shows up in my life. It shows up big time. The biggest example I can give with that is, for example, talking about music, John Legend, Ordinary People. You know the song? Ordinary People? I love that song. When that came out, I played it over and over and over and over and over again on repeat, because that's what I do when I love something. I go for it. I love it. I'm like, I enjoy it. And so I love that song. So what happened in a manifestation way, how everything becomes real and gets into my life in this physical realm, is at some point I was in a music studio, and John Legend is there as well, and I was there with 5 other people, and there was a piano, and John Legend, he decides to step up to the piano, and he plays Ordinary Love for us, like that. And
nice.
This is just one of the many examples that everything I love, it shows up in the real world, not just like out there, but like really, like as miracles. All the people I've seen in The Secret, I was like, oh my God. It's not like no, I was like really, I would really love to hang out with those people and learn from them and talk to them and expand and grow. I would really. So it happened. I met most of them. I talked with most of them. I worked with Michael Beckwith. He did the voiceover for Superwise MEdia, and so on and so on and so on. It shows up. Whatever you love, it's showing up. It's such a big magnet. It's amazing. So that's my biggest secret, really. All the things I love, it shows up. It really, and I have miracles to tell. I could fill up many podcasts with you guys telling stories about this, just proving and showing what happened. And it's inspiring for people when they hear it, because they're like, oh my God, it's true. It's not just like, yeah, you love it, and now you walk into a mall and you hear the song while you're shopping. No, it's like, or it's like real stuff happening. I read the book from Epona. Oh, I would love to meet Dr. Len. 2 years later, I'm having brunch with him. And the trick is, here's the tricky part: never ever add any negativity to what you love. So don't get frustrated when it doesn't show up right away. Don't get mad. Don't put any jealousy, negativity in it. If you keep that out and you stick with the love, it'll show up. Everything will manifest. And I guess that you guys have stories like this as well. I know Melody well, and I'm 100% sure that she knows the power of love in that way also. And I'm sure you do also as well also.
Yes. So we are definitely going to bring you back on a podcast to focus on love and manifestation, because that's a different 3-part podcast, and the hour escaped us so fast.
Is it already an hour?
It's an hour, and we're coming to the close of the show. That's why we'd love to bring you back and schedule that with you. Right, Janie?
Yes, absolutely. I truly enjoyed meeting you, Len, and I could probably come over to Bali and just sit with the both of you and just talk about that inner freedom, that happiness, and just play. And I just so appreciate you joining us on our second episode. And we have come to the end, and what an outstanding time it was with you. So I'm definitely, and I can speak, and I'm sure I can learn a lot about that love and manifestation, because, you know, we are on a crusade. Like our retreat that we mentioned is to help people detox from toxic love. So we definitely continue this conversation with you, because you said some key things that I think people can really unpack and hear, and it can really make a difference in their life. So what do you think, Melanie?
Well, I am all about Bali. So yes, Naomi and Len, we are coming your way. If you only see their Facebook post on everything that is just so good. I mean, down to the food space. I have never seen a man in love with as much healthy organic meals that he takes, because everything he posts on social media, I'm like, I'm going to be there. Not just once. It's going to come into fruition. I'm going to be sharing the meal with both of them. But in all honesty, this has been so refreshing, you know, to hear from somebody like you. And first of all, thank you so much for creating this space, because I know that, you know, as of recording date, you know, Indonesia, Bali was hit with a 7.0 magnitude earthquake just yesterday. So my first concern is, oh my goodness, are you both okay? So we had to delay the recording of the show another 24 hours. And as we speak, they're still feeling aftershocks. You know, so talk about unconditional love. Len said, I'm still going to show up for your podcast show. And here he is, earthquake and all, doesn't stop him from sharing his wisdom. So thank you so much for your time.
How could I resist? How could I resist your love, Melody? How could I resist that?
That's a powerful thing. I learned from the masters like yourself. From the masters like yourself. So, Janie, you want to close this out, love?
Yes, absolutely. So I am Janie Lacey, and our other host, Melanie Garcia, and we want you to remember to live your life happily, unscripted, and we look forward to bringing you back, Len. Thank you so much for your time.
And
I will show up. I will show up for love, always.
And for our information, Janie, we have our website called lifeunscriptedjm.com that is being completed. We are going to drop all our social media links on here. And Len, please, we are going to promote everything that you are involved with, including what's the title of your own podcast?
Let Love Rule, the Feel Better podcast.
Love
all
it.
Right.
It's on SoundCloud, it's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's everywhere, you know. So go and find some self-love, because it's all about self-love over there. And there's some cool next time I'll share we'll do a really great fun exercise together to activate self-love. It's really fun. So for next time we'll be doing that.
Look forward to it.
And good night from Orlando, Florida. Good morning from Bali.
Yeah, the sun is shining. We got blue skies. It's really good. It's the view.
I wish you guys could see the view here, because we're just enjoying this view, podcast listeners, of Bali.
Oh yeah.
Len Branson. So again, my name is Melody Garcia. This is Life and Janie Lacey, and we will see you and listen to you on the next podcast show, episode number 3 of Life Unscripted.
Cool. Let love rule.